Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Ben Weaver with the Music Connection Lesson Studio in Sycamore, Illinois. Today you're in for a treat. Today we're going to meet Mr. Nick Andersen. Hello, Nick.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Nick is our brand new brass instructor here at the Music Connection. Nick is available for brass lessons on any brass instrument. So feel free to give us a call, 815-217-5648. If you'd like to set up a free sample lesson. You can also head over to our website, www.themusicconnection.com, to read Nick's bio and to learn more about us and even fill out the registration form. All right, so stick around. We'll be right back. All right, well, let's go and get started. Nick, so can you share with us a little bit about your background? How did you get into music and why did you choose trumpet or brass as a career?
Yeah, perfect. That's a great question. So I've been playing the trumpet for about 12 years now, which is over half my life, which is crazy to say as only being 23 years old. And the funny reason why I actually chose the trumpet was I thought it would be easy because it had 3 buttons. I was very wrong. It's not the easiest thing. But I fell in love with the instrument because of, again, it's kind of like one of the feature instruments. We get the melody a lot. It's got some of the coolest themes in the world, like Star Wars, movie themes galore. It's super fun. And what made me fall in love with music and pursue a career in it actually was seeing the audience reaction and getting to leave a message with the audience, leave a feeling with the audience that is like no other to me.
That's great. That's great. So for those that are watching that might be on the fence about should I sign up for trumpet lessons or learn an instrument, feel free to reach out. Like I said, we do always offer a free sample lesson. So there's no cost to you. You can come in for about 15 or 20 minutes and we can just show you some different things on the trumpet or any other brass instrument. Again, our phone number is 815-217-5648. We're located in Sycamore, Illinois. All right, so Nick, can you maybe share, as a beginner, what are some things that you worked on to help you kind of get off on a good start with the trumpet or just music in general?
Yeah, so one thing I focused on a lot of when I was a beginner was working on your basic fundamentals of kind of how your embouchure should be and how you should be breathing, especially. One thing I preach is knowing how to breathe. It's obviously very different than how we breathe in everyday life. And learning how to do that and use your air effectively can make the trumpet so much easier, which I think was a huge thing for me when I was younger. Learning how to just breathe and play efficiently. So.
That's great. Yeah, I used to take lessons from a professional trumpet player. And one thing that he showed me about breathing to help expand your lungs is, and obviously you know, is, and especially for those that are watching, you can try this at home, is to inhale and then take in as much air as you can and then try to sip a little bit more. And then, this is probably what I found the hardest, hold it and then twist, right? Mm-hmm. Twist side to side, go down as you hold the air in. And can you explain to those, what exactly does that do for the trumpet player?
Yeah, so what that kind of helps do is it actually helps expand your lungs and find, kind of fill every like nook and crevice in your body with air, so that way you're kind of taking in as much as you can. While we play, we might not want all of that air in there because that creates tension, but we're overtraining our body so that way it can get stronger and expand, so that way we can hold more air and become a stronger player. So that's kind of an exercise of overtraining the body to gain more air.
That's great. That's great. So stick around because you're about to see a sample video of this breathing exercise, and just you'll kind of get a little bit more a better idea of how that can help you in your trumpet journey. So stay tuned. Okay, welcome back. So what did you think of that video? Feel free to rewind this video and to watch that other video and just really take in all the technical aspects of that breathing exercise that I mentioned earlier that can really help expand your lungs. Okay, welcome back. So what did you think of that video? Feel free to rewind this video and to watch that other video and just really take in all the technical aspects of that breathing exercise that I mentioned earlier that can really help expand your lungs. Well, let's continue with Nick. Nick, can you share with our audience, what are some of your influences? Maybe was it another teacher or musician that really helped you just kind of push through the daily grind as a musician, as a professional musician. So who are those people? How did they help you move forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of my earliest influences was my very first private lesson teacher. I started taking private lessons when I was in 5th grade, and I took lessons with him all the way through middle school and high school. And his name was Mr. Lipsky. He was very kind. He was very what's the word I'm looking for?
Patient, maybe.
Patient,
Yeah.
motivational. He was always pushing me to be better, and he was just someone I kind of got along with, and now I consider actually a very close friend as well. And so he made it extremely easy. Very cliche answer, but my parents and my mom especially, very motivational. She was never a musician herself, but she could always tell if that sounded good or bad, and so she was always pushing me to be the best version of myself. But and especially recently for motivation I use and inspiration I use, listening to famous artists and going to see the CSO in Chicago, and getting to hear some of the best musicians in the world and aspiring to be one of those musicians one day. And of course, my current professors, old professors of the past, all of them motivate me to this day because they've helped me get to where I am, and I want to make them proud. So
that's great. Yeah, those are great influences. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So for those that are watching, we encourage you to really listen to your teachers, whether they be in the classroom at school or they be in a private lesson, or anywhere like a coach. They are professionals and they're there to help you. So you can really learn a lot from any teacher. Let's go ahead and transition now to something more specific to lessons. What are some of your teaching philosophies when it comes to teaching either a trumpet student or any student in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my main philosophy is I want to make playing the trumpet or really any brass instrument, I want to make it as easy as possible for the student. When playing a brass instrument or really any instrument feels easy, chances are that's when you are at your best. If it feels hard, chances are there's something you're struggling with or it could be sounding better. And to get to that point of it feeling easy is by creating good habits and having a strong sense of fundamentals through scales, strengthening exercises for your embouchure, breathing especially, and even a little bit of oral aspect with some singing and ear training as well. Having a great sense of those fundamentals can really make playing a brass instrument, but really any instrument, easy. And when it's easy, it's way more fun in my opinion. Because you're working not as hard, but you're playing harder music. So that's awesome.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. So for those that are watching, maybe you already play trumpet and maybe you already play scales. So stay tuned for this next video because you'll see some examples of common scales And then, do you remember what he said earlier about trumpet players usually play the melodies of different pieces? So, like Star Wars or anything like that that you might have seen in a movie. So, for those that are watching, make sure you're practicing those scales. Working on those arpeggios, those triads, anything that will help you get ready for those famous melodies that you may play in school band or someday the CSO even.
Yeah.
So stick around and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video series so far with new trumpet brass instructor Nick Andersen. Well, let's continue, Nick. Is there anything from your past that maybe you want to share about a certain performance, maybe, that you had to really use a certain technical aspect of trumpet playing to overcome any hurdles in that piece of music or for that concert?
Yeah, so a great example is from my very first year of college, my freshman year of my undergraduate degree. We went and did a performance on Carnegie Hall in New York City, one of the most famous stages in the world. Obviously, nerves are through the roof, adrenaline is kicking, and there's a solo I had in a piece called Country Gardens, where I had to get up into the upper register of the instrument, and I kept in the rehearsals prior, I kept messing up here and there. But then before we got to New York, I was almost 100% at it. It was automatic, and then for some reason, it was not. And then the motivation of my director of bands at the time, Dr. Glenn Hayes, he just looked at me and he goes, "Hey, you know it, you can do it. It's just Carnegie Hall. It's not a big deal." He goes, "This is just any other stage. You can do it." And just having that sense of feeling grounded really helped cool my nerves. And in the concert setting, I nailed it, and he made eye contact with me and gave me a big old smile. And that was one of the greatest feelings. And just having him telling me to be grounded, I know it, just being comfortable and strong in my fundamentals was one of the biggest things. It's not overthinking it too much and just being like, "Hey, I know this, I can do it, just do it."
That's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and for those that are watching, it's so important to make sure you're with a good teacher. Nick is definitely a great teacher. I've heard him play. I know he's well experienced in the teaching realm. So for those that are watching, feel free to reach out again, 815-217-5648. If you'd like to set up a free sample lesson with Nick on trumpet or any brass instrument. And I also want to point out it's important for teachers that are watching to make sure you're giving that encouragement to your students, where it's due, when it's appropriate, to really help that student, because you know the student, you know that they put the time in. And sometimes, like he just shared, they need that kind of last minute affirmation or encouragement to really, put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and so they can achieve that musical goal. That's really good. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. All right, folks, so thanks so much for tuning in. But before we go, let's talk with Nick one more time. Nick, what are some of your future plans?
So some of my future plans, currently I'm at Northern Illinois University getting my master's, and I'm looking to apply to some doctoral programs around the country, and kind of hoping to get a teaching assistantship at one of those, and continuing to teach along the way and perform as much as I can. But as of right now, I'm applying to doctoral programs, so we'll see where I'm at in the future.
That's great. Well, we're definitely thankful to have you here. And for those that are watching, Nick is available for beginner, intermediate, and beyond. Those students, we've talked about some things that he would work on with the students. So feel free to reach out. Even if you're a brand new beginner, he'll definitely work on, buzzing and breathing and, correct fingerings and things like that. Is there anything real quick you want to share for maybe anybody that's on the fence, just to maybe kind of make that step to reach out to us and sign up?
Yeah, so one thing I preach is making a lasting impression on all of my students. I don't force any student to pursue music outside of just for fun. I think music is one of those things that just should be a positive memory on your life and something that will just impact you all the way into your adulthood, just creating good memories and hopefully a long-lasting appreciation for music. I'm not here trying to create the next Wayne Bergeron or the next Miles Davis or anything like that. I'm here just trying to create a long-lasting love for music.
That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Nick. All right, folks. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Feel free, like I said, to rewind this video. Check out those other sample technical video clips that can really help you for the trumpet player or any instrumentalist that uses air, definitely for sure. And feel free to reach out, 815-217-5648. You can find us on the internet, www.themusicconnection.com. You can read Nick's bio on our website, and you can go ahead and sign up for lessons. You can email us at info@themusicconnection.com. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Nick, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on in here. And we'll definitely see you guys next time. Thanks. Have a great day.